Hey there, it's Sean Reddy, Keller Williams Reddy Group, and let's take a look at what the heck is going on with the Denver metro market this week, week ending, let's see here, September 27th. And as we record this, it's the 29th, so this data is fresh in hand. And as always, thank you to our friends at First American Title for providing such in-depth, almost predictive analytic style data on the Denver metro housing market. This does cover a 7-county span, so this is a very macro level look. As always, if you want something that is more specific to your town, your suburb, your neighborhood, your street, heck, even your house, let us know because we can produce numbers like this and replicate them pretty much anywhere. Let's get into the data. Real quickly, if you haven't seen this before, we look at this from a scale standpoint. I'm over here scrolling with the scale. By the way, we're getting late in the year, so these videos are a little bit more challenging to kind of scroll through because we got to go up and down with all these weeks under our belt. Yet, holy smokes, do we have some perspective. Okay, so anyways, we're looking at a more competitive market with these reds and oranges to a less competitive market with these blues and these greens here. So if you are a seller only, you're selling a home, maybe moving out of state, you want to see those reds and those oranges. If you are only buying a home, you're not selling a home to buy it, you do want to see the colors, well, that we are seeing over the last month plus here. If you're selling a home to buy a home, really it shouldn't matter because it is an equity swap. Yet, some people do get hung up on, hey, am I in a buyer's market or seller's market, even when they're doing both. Anyways, let's get into the data. The first thing that we look at, odds of selling a home. Now, this is a simple measure of supply and demand as measured through the total number of active listings and the total number of homes going under contract. Divide that out and we get the odds of selling. So we started the year in the 50 range. We worked our way up into the mid 60s range back in March, April, and into May. Started falling off from there, and now we are at 46.5% odds of selling. Not the low for the year, yet certainly not the high and not too far off of the low. And actually, if we look at that same number last year, 2022, we're at 49.9, so we are a little bit down from last year. As you can imagine, with prolonged weakness because of mortgage rates. Okay, let's look at average daily active listing count. And by the way, let me go back on that statement. When I say prolonged weakness, I mean weakness in people entering the market. Still home selling, yet less people are entering the market because of today's mortgage rates. Okay, average daily active listings, 6,811. That means on any given day last week, there were over 6,800 properties for sale in the metro market. You can see we started the year about 2/3 of that, worked our way all the way down to about 3,500-ish homes on the market at any given time. Now all the way back up to 6,800. Last year, I think that was over 7,000, if I'm not mistaken. Almost 7,000. We got into the 7,000 range in October last year, so do expect much of the same this year. Okay, 1,000 exactly. That represents the number of new listings that hit the market last week. That is slightly down, yet looks to be pretty average-ish over the last couple of months or so, since about mid-July, about 1,000 to 1,100 units. You can see there was a serious drop-off, but that was also Labor Day weekend. Less homes do hit the market on Labor Day, or any holiday weekend for that matter. Okay, next measure, back on market. These are the homes that were under contract, and for whatever reason, the contract fell out. When mortgage rates started rising, there was all this talk about how contract fallout is just going to go through the roof. Yet you can see it's been fairly consistent, save for some weeks. I guess no, it's been pretty consistent. We'll call it 2 to 250-ish per week on average. So next measure here, expired and withdrawn listings. This expired means that if a home listed for 6 months came and went, the home didn't sell. Withdrawn means that they just chose to come off the market. Let's see that measure this week. Nothing really to talk about there. Pretty consistent with what we've been seeing. Okay, big telltale measure here, pending sales. This is the number of homes that go under contract week to week. You can see where we started the year. I'm not even going to count the first week of the year. People are still in holiday mode. Yeah, we started the year kind of in the 800-ish range. Worked our way up to about 1,100. I think that, yeah, the high was about just shy of 1,200 units or houses going under contract. And then in about, let's see, mid-July-ish, we saw our last 1,000+ contract week, and it started tailing off from there into the 900s and 800s. Last week was below 800. This week back above 800. So 856 homes went under contract last week. Closed sales, I don't spend too much time here just because that is such a lagging measure. Homes that closed last week went under contract most likely in August, maybe even earlier. So that's not really indicative of today's demand yet. 631 homes closed last week. You can see that's been pretty consistent. We'll call it 600 to 700-ish over the last couple of months per week. Okay, this one. This is predictive MSI, stands for months supply of inventory. Okay, so this is just if nothing new hit the market, given today's pace of sales, it would take 1.8 months for these 6,800 plus homes to fully sell out and be left with 0 homes on the market. That is not the high for the year, certainly not the low. The low for the year was about a half a month, if I'm not mistaken. Well, no, I am mistaken. About 0.8. So 0.8 of a month. And back in the spring, that's when the pace of sales was certainly at a more frenzied pace than it is now. So 1.8 months supply, been pretty consistent there for the last 3 weeks. It would take 22,000 plus homes to immediately hit the market to bring the market to complete equilibrium. No advantage to either buyers or sellers, so it's still very much a seller's market. So we're at 30.5% of the amount of homes necessary to be on the market to equal out demand. Okay, moving over, what's this 87 here? It would take 87 days to get there. Okay, total showings. This is one that I always harp on. This is the leading measure amongst leading measures. Increase in showings today means increase in contracts 2 to 4 weeks from now. And you can see how that plays out if we really wanted to yet. Just mark my words on that. So we started the year about 12,000 showings per week, worked our way up to 13, 14, even 17,000 showings. When was that? In mid-April. Back down to 16, 15, and then started dropping off from there. Been pretty steady around 11, 12,000 showings now for the last, we'll call it 3 months or so. Last week, no different, 11,463 showings, slightly down from the week before. 1.7 stands for the showings per listing. That takes the total number of showings, divides it by the total number of homes on the market. 1.7 per. And 13.4 showings on average to get to contract. So you take the total number of showings divided by the total number of contracts. Pretty, I'm not going to call it consistent there because there's been some ebbs and flows, yet we'll call it pretty average for the last 3 or 4 months. Nothing really to talk about there. Median days on market. Okay, this one's pretty much as advertised. What's the median amount of time a home spends on the market before it goes under contract? Now, it's not going to take into account homes that have been sitting that have not gone under contract. So we're only talking about the homes that went under contract last week and how long they stayed on the market. So you can see we started the year off at about a month's range, worked our way all the way down to a week, less than a week, 5 days median on market. Then it started creeping back up. And we've been talking about 2 to 3 weeks on market now for the last, looks like about two plus, we'll call it 2.5 months. No, 18 days on market. That is, sizable change from 14 days the previous week. So properties are taking longer to sell. And actually, I do want to compare that to this time last year. When we were looking at, let's see, September, well, right about the same, 17 days on market median last year this time too. Really no change there. I do want to see contracts were higher, 914 last year this week, and 631 this year, 856. So not that big of a change. Okay, sorry. And let's see here. What percent of homes that went under contract had to decrease last week? That is 43.6. That is a high, maybe. Second highest, third highest week this year. Nearly 44% of homes that went under contract last week saw a price reduction in order to get there. 2% sold for over asking price, and 54.4% went under contract with using their original asking price. The average price reduction last week to get to contract was $40,000. Not much change there. You can see that's been pretty consistent. That does represent 5.7% of asking price coming off the top in order to get under contract. Okay, to kind of sum this up, let's just go super elementary here and look at colors. Like I mentioned, the reds and the oranges, the deep reds, those are more competitive markets. Those are better for sellers, less competition, more buyers out there, more multiple offers. And you can see a huge concentration of those reds. We're in the spring months. We'll call it mid-late February through about the second week of May. And ever since then, it's been kind of neutralizing and even moving towards, not into yet, towards buyer's market territory or closer to buyer's market territory. When we look at last year, quite frankly, nothing has really changed in terms of the dynamic. Obviously, last year started the year much hotter because that was pre-interest rate hike that started happening around March and April last year. Yet we still see some very similar numbers and obviously very similar colors in September of last year compared to September of this year. Same amount of properties on the market, roughly the same amount of homes going under contract, slightly less closings. So I suspect we're probably going to see a very similar quarter four in terms of the numbers than we did in 2022. Difference being there's just less transactions happening, less people moving. The people who are moving, generally they have to upsize, they have to downsize, they have to reduce the commute, they have to move out of town, whatever the case may be, because not too many people are willingly jumping from a 3% interest rate to a 7.5%, 8% interest rate. Rightfully so, unless you really, really want to or you really, really have to. And we're focused on the people who want to and have to. The people who don't necessarily need to. It's quite frankly hard to help those people in this market or any market. So anyways, I'm going on and on and on. All this to say, expect a lot of the same over these next 3 months, this next quarter. And of course, every Friday, end of the week, we will break this down for you, get this out to you, put it on our YouTube channel. And if you like it, make sure to subscribe to our channel, hit the notification bell. We would totally appreciate it. And until next week, I'm Sean Reddy, Keller Williams Reddy Group, and take care. Thanks for watching.